Hello, welcome to Animaker. Animaker is a video creation tool online where you can create some great whiteboard explainer videos or take something you've learned in class and teach others about it with them. Um, Up here at the top is the menu. This is where you can create new videos, save what you've got, work with your video up here in general. You can change your your type of video that you're doing, your theme that you have over here. We're doing the whiteboard today, but if you wanted to do like just a regular 2D video, work with infographics or a handcraft one, that would be the option. And this is where you change it in the drop-down menu. And then this box right here has you change your board style. So you can pick which kind of board you want. Today I'm working with the whiteboard. Now I'm creating a video of backpacking tips. I have my lovely illustration, my backpacker, and I have typed in some information. Then I have my second page where I'm talking about backpacking tip number 1. You notice down here, it shows you what I have included in my video. So I've got my background of my mountain. I have my text object, which is backpacking tip number 1. I have my girl who's now hiking with her walking stick. And then I have her tip. Now, you have to decide what order you want them to be drawn in. Down here is the order they will be drawn in. Right now, the mountain is first, but I'm thinking I want backpacking tip number 1 to be first. So you can just drag it to reorder it. Then down here in the timeline, this shows when things appear and at which second mark. Each frame is about 10 seconds. You can make it bigger or small or longer or shorter here. But 10 seconds is, depending on how much text you have, is usually a pretty good amount of time. And then the yellow part shows you how long it actually is, which I'm using the full entire 10 seconds. And then the orange part, see how I have the backpacking highlighted? This is when it comes in at the 2-second mark, and it will take about 2 seconds for it to draw it. Now, if you want to make it longer or shorter or move it around, down here in the timeline is how you do it. Notice how I'm just clicking and it moves the amount of time. If you just want to move it in general, you come over to the first line and just slide it over. Since I want that to come in first, I'm going to slide it to the beginning. Then the next thing that's going to come in is my mountain. Right? That one shows it's about the same as my backpacking tip number 1, but I don't want it to come in at exactly the same time. I want it to start immediately after my backpacking tip, so I'm going to slide it down to second number 2. So first my backpacking tip is going to come in, then my mountains. Then I'm going to want my girl to come in, but I want that to come in after my mountain, so I'm going to move that to 4. And then my last piece of text, I want to come in after my girl, so I'm going to move that to 6. So now let's test it out and see how it works. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to move it back here. All right, let's preview it and see how it goes. All right, that's looking pretty good. All right, now you may have noticed that when I did backpacking tip, I had a hand in there drawing it, and the rest of them there wasn't. The ways that you can change that is by clicking on them. It gives you the option of changing it. So if you don't like the text, if you want to change the text, here is your option for doing that. If you want to change the color, that's there. And then if you click this Effects tab, this is where you tell it what you want it to look like. If you want it to be drawn like a marker, like chalk, which would be really good with the blackboard background, and then how you want it to take effect when it leaves. Most of the time, I just have it move on to the next screen, but if you wanted it to wipe, like you are wiping it free to move on to the next one, you can do that as well. So you can do the same thing and adjust it with each of these tabs up here. Now for the hand one, this is where you say whether you want the hand or not. Whether with hand, without. I sometimes find that if you do everything with the hand gets in the way of what you're trying to teach or show your reader or your viewer, to show your viewer. So be careful how much you use that. Now, how did I get these in here? Over here is where you can control the scenes. If I want to add another scene and do backpacking tip number 2, I'll just say add scene. And then over here is where I can add my person, my background, my images are all in here. I can even upload an image if I want to. But let's start first with my person. So I have been using my adventure people. So if I click adventure, I have the choice between a man and a woman. I've been using a woman. And then over here, it gives me the options of the different girls to use. So last time, or one time I used her, I've also used her. This time I'm going to use her because she's looking pretty tired, which fits in with my next backpack. So there's my girl, and I'm going to be talking about food. So let's see if I can find some food to search. I come up here and type, well, first let's switch it over to properties and put it food and see what happens. Look at that, there's all sorts of food to choose from. Hot dog, I'm gonna choose a hot dog because that kind of fits in with like backpacking and camping and stuff, as does fish, but I like the hot dog better. Right, so let's add in the hot dog, maybe make it more like her size, or maybe a foot-long dog. All right, and let's see what they have for drinks. No items found for a drink. Okay, that's all right. I'll just use the food. What if I try water? There we go. Sometimes you just have to be creative and try different options. Now, the reason that I have chosen food and water is because my tip number 2 is to always bring food and water with you. So now I need her to say this. I'm going to choose text and I'm going to pick the speech bubble I want. This time I'm going to pick this one, and then it'll allow you to type in it. So always bring food and water. And then you can kind of adjust it to fit how you want it to. I'm not going to play around too much to make it perfect right now for sake of time. And then you can just move them around where it fits on your screen, wherever you want it. Move her down. All right. Now you can always, you noticed in one of them I had a mountain. So you can always bring things into the background if you want. Those mountains I searched for in property. Maybe I don't want a mountain this time. Maybe I want a tree. All right, so here's different tree options to put into the background. All right. I recommend with this program just kind of moving things around and see where they look best. With whiteboard explainer videos, lots of the time it's best not to have them overlap, because when they're drawn, then it's hard to tell what things are. All right, I'm going to bring her down so she doesn't overlap with her speech bubble. Now the last thing I need to add is my my tip number 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click that, I'm going to highlight that, and I am going to copy it, then go back to the screen, and I'm going to paste it here. So then all I have to do is change this to number 2. And there we go. All right, so then once again, I want to make sure I have everything in the order I want them. I'm going to move my tree down at the beginning. All right, and then my person coming in is good. But this time I want my backpack tips to be before her, and I want what she says to be before the food. So I want the food to come in last. And then once again, you can adjust the timing of each of your images. So maybe I want the tree and, oh wait a minute, that's not the one I wanted first. That's the one I wanted first. There we go. All right. Slide them around, maybe put them in spots that make more sense. Then 6, I'll have my hot dog and my water come in at both the 6-second mark. All right, let's play it, see what it looks like. Right, there we go. So if I wanted to adjust it, I could, but you keep adding your slides until you're happy with what you've come up with. Now notice between each one it says no transition. If you click on it, it will give you the option of adding different transitions over here. So you can choose how the transitions come in from one scene to another. The choice is yours. Once you are done, you can preview the whole thing by clicking the preview button. And then when it's completely done, you can download or export it to share it with other people.